Hello, amazing people. I hope you're ready for some amazing value that is coming to you right now. You know, a number of times, a lot of us don't seem to understand the value that education and academics play in our lives. We've tried to see it as a normal custom in which you're born, you need to be sent to school, you need to come out of school, and then at the end of the day, you aspire to get a job and just pursue every other ambition that you need to go out for. But you really, really need to know that it's critical that education and academic plays a lot of role in your personal development, in your career growth, and in every progress you need to make. All right. In this particular episode of Growth Secrets, I have a special guest that will be sharing with us on some key concept that has to do with the contribution of the contribution of academics and education in our personal development. All right, I have with me today a dear personality who is an educator and the co-founder of Club 20Z. Club 20Z is an educational hub where young people are being brought up with the right learning tools and capacity that will enable them to compete with their peers in the global world and in the global space, and have had the ability to be there to inspire the young people there. And I have with me a dear friend and a dear brother who is the co-founder of Club 20Z. All right, join me as I welcome to Growth Secrets, Dayo Moyo. Dayo, is nice to have you on this episode of Growth Secrets.
It's great. It's great to be here. I'm humbled and honored.
All right. I hope you guys are not, don't be scared by those glasses. It's just an amazing guy that loves to put on glasses. Don't be scared by it. And you would know there's a lot of brain behind the glasses thing. All right, Moyo, it's nice to have you here. Thank you for honoring our invitation to be on Growth Secrets
Yeah,
today.
thank you.
And today we just want to hear from you on this concept that has to do with education, academics. What first is education? What is academics itself? What's the difference between the two? Is there actually any difference that occurs between the two? And when does a person need to know that I'm actually pursuing academics and then I'm pursuing education? Please, can you start by saying some few things around this and that have to do with education and academics?
All right. So education and academics, they are siblings, but they are not exact. Education is broader, is more in depth. Now, I think the way I can put it that would be very simple is that you can have education without going to school. Now, a classic example I would like to give us is I don't know if the audience know about Malcolm X. Malcolm X was one of he was a contemporary of Martin Luther. He was a civil rights, someone who activist, yes, a civil rights activist. Now, he dropped out from school at a very young age. I don't even think he finished high school. Now, Malcolm X went to the prison. He was in prison because he was involved in some bad drugs and the rest of that, stealing, robbery, and the rest of that. And when he got to prison, he could not write. He had forgotten everything he learned in high school. But in prison, he discovered books. And because in prison, you virtually can do nothing. You are just locked up in a room and then nothing to do except for probably a few exercise and labor. And so Malcolm X immersed himself in books. And when he came out of the prison, he became a leader. He became a civil rights activist, one of the greatest, one of the contemporary of Martin Luther King. And that's to show you that even without going to the four walls of schools, of the university, of secondary school, you can have education. So the question is, did Malcolm X have a degree? No. Did he have an education? Yes. So I think the major difference between academics and education is that with academics, you're going to be given a certificate at the end of whatsoever you went to school to study. But for education, you might not have a certificate for it. And so that's the broad difference between academics and Education. So it's possible to go to school and have a certificate and not even be educated. And it's possible not to even visit the four walls of any school, whether secondary or tertiary institution, and have education.
Wow, amazing. That's really, really great. So which means what differentiates academics and education is many times the experience, and then the fact that probably one usually gives you a certificate, the other does not. But in terms of the experiential part of it, you would know that a person is educated by the result he produces, by the kind of value he gives out based on what has been learned. All right. Thank you so much for that critically. Now, before we go really deep into this, you've had the ability to speak to young people. And from what I know of you, you had a statistic background. I'm just trying to fine tune how what would make somebody who was pursuing a statistical career to choose to become an educator. And you're doing this thing full time, like you're giving yourself to it right from the time you left the university, and now you are giving yourself into education full time. Now, what actually brought around that motivation for you to move into being an educator?
All right. So as a background, my mom is into education. So as far as I can remember, my mom had started a school. I think even my primary school, I did it in my mom's school. So I've been around education for a long time. And then 3 out of 4 of my siblings are professional teachers. So it's safe to say probably it kind of runs in the vein. But having said that, when I finished secondary school and then wrote post UTME and UTME, I chose Unilag, and for some reason I did not hit the cutoff mark. And I can remember vividly, I was told to come study physics education. But I was like, no, God forbid. There was no way I was studying education. I felt I was good with math. I was very good in school. So there's no I could study education. And so to cut the long story short, I studied statistics. And after studying statistics, I think one thing in life is that sometimes we really do not know what we're born for, or what's our purpose and what's our calling in life until further down the road. Sometimes we are mined by society, we are mined by the influence of parents, influence of peer pressure, and the rest of that. And so after university and after NYC, um, my friend and I organized a program for young people. And then we went to a school to speak to them. And after the program, we were sitting together and we're like, how do we follow up on these young people we've inspired and we've spoken to? And so my friend kind of suggested that we started a tutorial center, because starting a tutorial center, the students are with you, and so you can do whatsoever you want with them. And then when we started that tutorial center, I discovered that I derive joy from teaching. In fact, for the first 1 year or probably 2 years, we did not receive a dime, but I could teach from morning till night, and come on Friday, come on Saturday, come on Sunday, and then teaching the children. I derive joy from it. But not only that, the children see me like someone who is different, because there's a whole difference between someone who loves what he's doing and someone who doesn't love what he's doing. And so that experience made me realize that the reason why I am born, not why I was born, no, the reason why I am born is to be a teacher. And if there's a difference between the reason why I was born and the reason why I am born, and the difference is that the reason why I still live is actually to be a teacher. And so from that time till this time, it's been focused on what I believe I was born to do. And I think I'll be doing this for a very long, long time.
Wow, amazing. Is getting really, really interesting. So there's that part of identifying what purpose you are in, to choose into, before you can choose into maximizing the impact you can make in the academic space. Wow, very, very crucial. So for those who are educators who are listening to this, it's beyond just the fact that you want to make money. You just want to have somewhere you go every day. There's that part of creating maximal impact because of the purpose that you have found. All right, this would be a very important question I want to ask, and I will be asking this question not just because of this current generation, but the kind of generation we'll be having in the future, and even those we are already having now. Now, from the kind of interactions, engagement you had with young people in Club 20Z, in other programs that has to do with young people, in the area that has to do with education, I know you've also done some sort of impact-based events and activities with educators like schools and the like. What would you really say is the challenge that the young people have with coping with the kind of educational structure we have in Africa? What would you say is some sort of the issues that makes them discouraged by the kind of educational system? For example, you are in Nigeria, you are running in Nigeria, but I know you've done some other things with some people outside Nigeria also, basically in Africa. So what will you say is your discovery in how young people perceive education, how young people perceive academics in Africa? And in answering that, what would be your proposition to, let's say, those in the educational ministries, those in charge of the educational folks and structure? Now, what would be your suggestion to them, and what do you think the nation itself needs to do as regards the educational structure and system in Africa?
Yeah, to answer that, I'm going to start with a quote by Williams Butler. It's a quote I love so much, and the quote say, "Education is not the feeling of a pill; it's the lightning of a fire." Now, through education, you don't force children to learn; you inspire them to learn. That's my framework. That's my hallmark. That's my mantra. Because the world we are beginning to go into is not a world where you need information blog or block. It's a world where you need to be able to interpret information and use it maximally. And so, from even in the foundational level of education or schooling, if I may put it and be more specific, children just go to school to because they need to, because they are supposed to, because they are forced to. And so in our learning space, for example, we are forced and constrained to inspire students to learn. The reason is because for a after school lesson, the children have choice. If they say to their parents they don't like the lesson, there is nothing their parents will do. They are going to withdraw them. So because of this, we are constrained to inspire them to want to learn. So after going to school, they are tired. They are probably already worn out. It's that inspiration that would make them still come and be happy and even learn more than they learn in school. And when we started an online school, the same thing. And so with interacting with these young people, sometimes they come from school and I'm like, high school, and they're like very boring. Or they're like, I just hate this teacher. She's always calling me name and the rest of this. Now, because of that, the child is unable to learn. So my first advice to any educator, whether principals, school owners, teachers, is that if you do not believe that you are in the, if you do not believe that you are called to be an educator, please just go find another thing. And I say this with every fiber of my being, because it's unlike engineering. If you mark the engineering whatsoever, we can fix it. If you make a mistake with metals, we can fix it. If you make a mistake with trading tools, we can fix it. If you make a mistake with someone's life, it's very hard to fix. And that is what some people are doing. They are destroying lives. They are breaking human beings. They are hindering people from getting to the fullest of their potential. And it's something that is very painful. So for in the basic level, I would like to say teachers should be passionate. You must believe, and I think the government has something to do about this. Every Dick and Harry is a teacher. If you do not get job in other sector of the economy, just come back to teaching. We need to begin to take teaching very, very as a very very important profession, because with teaching, we can turn the economy around. And that's why you see countries like Finland doing something great with education, because to them, teachers are of a greater priority. You don't just come to teach because you do not get job in other part of the economy. You are a teacher because that is what you want to do. That is what you believe you should be doing. Then secondly is that even in our tertiary institution, we are not also giving the best to teachers. For example, the average college of education, the cutoff mark is 100. 100 over 400, that's failure. It's not even average score. So if we are shunning people who are like the lowest of the lowest, even into our tertiary institution, our colleges of education, what do we expect? Then lastly, I would like to also say that Nigeria, the Ministry of Education, need to begin to realize that the world is changing. And so we need to do something with our curriculum. There are some things we need to take away. We do not need so much subjects. We need subjects that matter: entrepreneurship, sales. We need communication skills. We need purpose. We need things that can prepare children for the future. We need software development. We need graphic and design. Don't tell us you are adding trade subjects to the curriculum, and what you are adding is tie and dye, or what you are adding is bleaching. It's like we're in the 19th century. We need to begin to think and add things like data analysis, add things like software development. You see, in the past 3 months, we started an online school. And what I discovered is that the average Nigeria youth is enterprising. They want to do something new. They want to see robotics. They want to put in for graphics. They want to put in for software development. The only thing is that they do not have an opportunity. And that's why they say that talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. Nigeria government, the Ministry of Education, those people that are involved in education in Nigeria, policymaker, in Africa at large, we need to begin to understand that our biggest advantage is human resources. That was what Bill Gates said when he came to Nigeria. And we need to take human resources very, very critical, prioritize it, because that is the future of Africa.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, amazing, so amazing. Thank you for those awesome and direct answers. So don't go teach because you feel you don't have a job. Teach because it touches you in your heart and you're passionate about creating impact and value to the world. Because you are not just creating value because you want to get something in exchange. You are dealing with lives. We are dealing with lives, and I can so agree with you on that. And I even want to comment. I remember the time when I think when I was in primary school, my mom actually had to enroll a private lesson teacher for us. I can say that was what contributed to my doing well in English, doing well in some subjects amazingly. And imagine if I got it wrong at that background, how I needed to apply so much effort when I grew older to be able to catch up. Thank you so much for that. All right, now moving on from the impact and people who are educators and the things they need to do. Now, I want to ask this question critically. Do you think there are actually roles, there are actually specific roles and specific impacts that education plays in our personal development? Are there roles that specifically in clear terms that the academia plays in our personal development? Or even when you don't have education, even when you don't have academics, you can still personally develop. And if a person decides to go into dedicate into your own personal development, and you are not educated, you don't have the academical prowess, are there limitations you would have? And when you actually have the right education, are there advantages that you get? Can you just throw some light into this thing? Because we have a lot of people in a sense whereby they feel it's just to go this route. I don't need school. I don't need education. I can go online and do this. But I seem to feel that probably there would be some road or be some advantages that being educated can have to your own personal development. Can you share on this?
Yeah, so education is the foundation. The thing with education, we always think education is just binary, square roots, logarithm. It's more than that. I think the way I would like to put it is that if you take someone who did not even visit the four walls of a school, and who for any reason was not exposed, did not travel, did not read books, which are other forms of how you can be educated. And then you pick someone who goes to school or who went to school and then studied and read. There is a difference. The way they carry themselves, the way they speak, there is that culture in which you know that this person went to school or this person is educated and this person is not. And in fact, the truth is that sometimes you can also differentiate between the places where people are educated. Sometimes, this talk of Harvard, Stanford, or if we bring it to the Nigeria context, you go see people that went to King's College, Jesuit, Caleb International College, all those kind of schools. There's also a difference because education is not just math, English, it's not just binary, it's not just those things. It's also a kind of self-confidence, the way you carry yourself, how you believe in yourself, what you think you can accomplish. And that's the foundation. Before we begin to talk about personal development, there must be a foundation. And so when people say that, oh, we learned about polynomial, we'll never be able to use it anywhere. That may be true. But what we're supposed to teach in school is not really those polynomial. Those things are good, especially if that person wants to focus on those things. So chemistry is good. Blending of chemicals are good if that person wants to be a chemist. But many of our students will not be chemists. Many of our students will not be physicists. Many of our students will not be biologists. But what education teaches you is critical thinking, ability to see a problem and then give solution to it, ability to interact with students. For me, I believe that school is first and foremost a social gathering. And that's why when you ask a child, what do you miss from school? And this is not me just saying any random thing. It's something I tried out. During the pandemic, we had access to about 4,000 students from different parts of Africa. And then at the time, I was asking them, what did you miss about school? They did not mention math. They did not mention English. They did not mention physics. They did not mention chemistry. They said they missed their friends and teachers. So school is first and foremost a social gathering. So school teaches interpersonal skills. It teaches you communication skills, how to relate with others. And it's all these things that help you to achieve success in life. Many people would never use what they are taught, 1/3 of what they were taught in school. But it's these little things, the ability to speak out for yourself, the ability to stand up even when things are not popular, the ability to challenge the status quo. Now, children that are given the opportunity to have this kind of education, especially considering the type of school they go to, they turn out to be successful in life. So they have a greater chance of succeeding in life. Lastly, I would like to mention, even in Nigeria, October 1st, we are going to be celebrating independence. And if you look at it, many of the people who fought for Nigeria independence were able to do that because they were educated. And so if you begin to mention them from Abact Macaulay to Obafemi Awolowo, all these people, they went abroad and then they came back. And because they were educated, they were able to challenge the colonial master. Now, if you've read government and if you're a student of government, you would understand that these people were not the only people that influenced the independence of Nigeria. We had people that took part in World War One, and then they saw that the colonial masters were not different from us. But the question I would like to ask, were they able to give us the change we need? Definitely no, because it's more than knowledge. It's more than understanding what is wrong. We need to be able to provide solutions to what is wrong. We need to draft constitution. We need to fight for our rights. We need to understand human rights. We need to understand how things are done and how things are wrong. We need to understand budgeting. We need to understand accounting. We need to understand politics. Every of these things are things that we need to understand to be able to give us an edge. And that is why when you look at the world over, you see that people who influence change, either Nelson Mandela, or you come to Desmond Tutu, or you go to Kagame, all these people that we celebrate in Nigeria, celebrate in Africa, even the world over, are people who were educated. Now, when I say education, I'm being broad about it, not necessarily who went to school, but people who were educated.
All right. Amazing. 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 So, which means that those who come from the school of thought, who keep saying and then propagating the gospel of school now scam, school is scam, actually they really don't
The
know what
question
they are
is, what's the
saying.
alternative?
Because I can tell you right now.
What's the alternative? What's the alternative?
Well, probably they will provide an answer to that because I'm not of that school of thought. So I don't know what people think about, and the issue sometimes I see is because people take a very minute percentage of people who dropped out of school and then made some sort of result and then they make a standard from it. But at the end of the day, those people actually got some sort of knowledge. They educated themselves in some perspective that made them successful. But when people keep saying those things, they don't know what they are saying. That's what I believe, and I stand by that thought. And I can tell you today that the friends I met, for example, I met you on the campus. The people that I met that have contributed to my life today, I met many of them in school. So when people say school is scam, it's because they don't look away from what happens in the classroom. They just believe it's just what it says, it's just what the professor says and all of that. But there's a lot of roles it plays in helping us develop. All right. So we are edging towards the end of this interview session, but I would want to ask directly, for individuals who grew up in the third world community, most especially in Africa, now what would be your counsel? What would be your advice to them on how they should handle education? And what do you think they should do in order to compete globally and to be able to command global relevance in terms of taking the education seriously, taking the academics seriously? The truth is, I would not lie to you, the third world economy in a way has a way of making people discouraged of being educated, discouraged of pursuing the academical sphere. So what would be your encouragement and counsel to individuals in the third world community in the way they handle education?
Yeah, so I believe that the government has so much to do, but when it's all said and done, education would always be the responsibility of parents. And then we need to begin, the parents need to begin to understand that they are responsible for their children's education. Now, like we've been saying from the beginning, education is more than the school you send your children to. I believe that parents need to begin to expose their children to opportunities. Now, for example, on our online school, we look for competitions that help children to be exposed to things they can do, writing competition, robotics competition. You need to begin to be at the forefront in pushing your child's education. There are so many resources online. There are things you can check online, even that are free on YouTube. So you need to just be deliberate about this. For example, I can decide to decide that my child, I want him to learn software development. There are sites that I can go to. I can decide that I want my child to be versed in history, and so I curate historical book for them. I can decide that I want my child to know about, let's say, graphic design. There are sites I can go to. So parents need to be deliberate about that. The other thing is that parents need to understand that talent building also is a part of education. And so when your child begins to show some specific talent, don't just put it aside. You see, the other day I was in church and then I saw some young boys playing the keyboard. And then it just kind of flashed in my mind that why is it that in Nigeria we have very few females playing the keyboard? It's just a kind of orientation that we believe that only males should do some certain things. We need to kind of unlearn those kind of things. And so when your child shows a kind of interest in music, get a teacher for him. The worst you can do is, even if you cannot get a teacher, get an instrument for him and get a video on YouTube. There was this video I watched of a man who, from beginning to the end, he learned to play from watching YouTube videos. If you see that your child has a talent in, for example, football, give him, open an opportunity for him. He might not turn out to be a footballer in future, but by doing that, you are building his confidence. When he's good at something, he will be good at other things. When he's bad at something, it's going to spill over to other things also. Another thing also is language. The more language you can learn, the better the opportunity you are creating for yourself. So you can see that education is more than the math and English. If you begin to think about the breadth and the width of education, you begin to see that there are many things you can do in spite of the lack of opportunity we say we have in Africa. The world is beginning to become a global village so that we can harness the power of the internet, provide books. There are so many free sites on the internet. I still read 2 books yesterday for free. I read about the history of Rwanda. I read about the genocide. That is education. In that, I know that there are 3 tribes in Rwanda. We have the Tutsis, we have the Hutu, we have the Twa. You see, without even going to school to study history, I'm not a government student. I know about the history of United States of America. I know about the politics. I know about the politics of Russia. I know about the politics of France, because it's something that I'm interested in, and it's something I can just pick up and read from the internet. So if you begin to see that education is more than binary numbers and it's more than polynomials, we will take responsibility for the education of our children.
Amazing, amazing. This is very, very critical, and it's top notch. It's top notch. So I tell you, you see that mentality of school as scam. I want you to fold it as paper, eh? Fold that ideology and dump it today. You need to get the sense that education is critical for you. The education you give yourself, the education you get outwardly, even education even starts from home, but people don't know.
Yeah.
So education starts from the things that you learn. It even starts from the respect, the confidence that is being built. So as parents, as young people, as individuals, thought leaders everywhere, encourage people to commit to education. And like you have said, the role education plays, number one, it builds confidence, it builds character, it increases your connection, competence, character, connection, and then it enables your concentration in life. So you must understand that that part of education is critical. So, Moyo, Dayo Moyo, please, can you just tell us about Club 20Z? A lot of people may want to know about Club 20Z, probably those who are watching live now or those who watch later on. Tell us about Club 20Z, where you are, how we can reach you, how we can make inquiry. Probably there are people who just want to come up there, make some contribution, or probably bring their words to Club 20Z. Tell us about it and how we can connect with Club 20Z and also connect with you.
All right, so Club 20Z stems from our purpose and our thoughts that we can inspire students to learn. It began from there. And if you look at the name itself, Club 20Z, it's like you have Vision 2020. This one is Vision 20Z. Z is the last alphabet. And so it's like we are building for the future of the future. Now, so we have a space where students come to learn. We prepare them for external examinations. We help them in what schools could not help them. So like after school lesson. But during the pandemic, we decided to move it online. And so we had a WhatsApp school where we helped students to learn online. Then we had a Telegram school. And in all, we had about a total of 7,500 registered students. And at the time, we had about 4,100 active students on our platform. So post-pandemic, we are running an online school where students can have access to maths. Because math is an issue, we have about less than 50% pass rate in SSC in mathematics. And so what we've done is that we've created videos that helps students to understand math concepts very easily. In fact, we have some free videos on YouTube. You can just check on www.youtube.com/c/club20z, and then you can have access to about tens of videos, of math videos online. So if you think that your child is having issues with mathematics and you've tried everything possible to help the child and there is no solution, all you need to do is allow your child join us on the online school, and then you will see a difference. And the difference is not really about what we teach, even though we teach very simply. It's about the belief that we first and foremost need to inspire your child to learn. When we are able to inspire the child to learn, it becomes way, way easier. I believe that you'll be surprised about what your child will be achieving. One thing I would like to say before I hand over to Abiodun Mustafa is that I've got a mother called me, and then she said, my child have been having issues with math, and I don't know, just help me talk with him. And so I spoke with the boy, and then he joined the online school. And then I'm like, wow, are you sure the woman did not make a mistake? Because the boy is one of the best students in the class. So you have to demystify every of the thoughts of a child that math is hard or that math is very, very difficult. As soon as those things give way, it becomes very easy.
All right, amazing. Moyo, there is always a numerous question I love to ask my guests whenever they come here, and I will want to ask you that question before I permit you to go, which is that if you can see the Moyo of 12 years old now, what is that thing you know now that you would tell that Moyo? So just look at the Moyo at 12 years birthday, and then you saw that Moyo standing before you. What are the things you embed into that Moyo that you know now that you would tell him?
Wow. I think that would be, I think, okay, it's going to be that follow the parts of your talents, your gift, and be willing to fight the status quo. The reason why I say that is that from a young age, I was bended towards writing, towards things that has to do with literature. And unfortunately, because I loved maths, I joined the science class. I believe that I would have been well suited for arts. I love literature, I love government intrinsically, and I would have been good in that, very good in that. So follow the path of your talents and gift, and then do not be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Moyo. I'm grateful for honoring our invitation. I know a lot of people have gotten so much value. So thank you so much. I would see you on the back end. So thank you so much. I hope you've gotten so much value from this edition of Growth Secrets, the mystifying the role of education and academics in personal development. It does not matter what the large populace of the world who do not know what they are saying may have said or may want to make you believe. You must understand that education is critical. Beyond the fact that you just go out there to get education, it transforms your life and it shifts you to the next pedestal. To like come your way again, never stop being phenomenal, never stop being exceptional, and continue to grow. Bye bye.